of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. First item up will be to approve the meeting agenda.
Motion to the agenda. This was any changes?
Is there any changes?
The only addition was the one donation.
Motion by Ann to approve the meeting agenda,
Second.
second by Brenda. Any discussion on the meeting agenda? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. Agenda carries. Opportunity for visitors to address the board. Okay, come on. Number 5, acknowledgements. Acknowledgements for Brent and Joanne Fraser, who are here at just about every event for the concession stand. We have coaches, advisors, activity workers for the last school year, and teacher and support staff, substitutes for the last school year. Brian, you have anything to add?
Yeah, thank you to the Frasers for all their work that they've done with the concession stand. My understanding right now is Mr. Fraser's going to continue on and Mrs. Fraser is going to step down. So we're looking for somebody to take her spot. Coaches, advisor, activity workers, we want to thank them for all their time and efforts during the school year. And teacher and support substitutes, we couldn't do it without them. We had a lot of people subbing this year, and we appreciate all their time and effort of filling in for our staff.
Derek, anything to add?
Second that.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to Mr. Nelson's report for the principal and AD.
To start, would like to thank Mrs. Holloman for her job last couple years at the elementary music department. She accepted a position up in Moorhead. A lot less driving for her, the young ones, so we are looking for an elementary music person, so if you know of anyone, please have them apply if they're interested. Activities report, we're recommending hiring Rudy Martinez as the head girls soccer coach for this fall. Section golf, Logan Petstick advanced from the subsection of the section meet up at Bemidji, which was a 2-day event up in Bemidji. And results from the state track meet, Anthony Checo de Souza finished 17th in the 300-meter hurdles. Megan Gouler placed 12th in the 200-meter dash. Sebastian Centeno placed 12th in the 400-meter dash. Nick Hughes placed 8th in the discus. And Charlie Larson was in 2 events, ended up 12th in the, should be 3,200-meter run and 10th in the 1,600-meter run. And Braden Eckerd placed 13th in the triple jump and 5th in the high jump. So congratulations to all those athletes that made it to the state track meet and their results. And then I'd like to thank Mr. Moe for his years of coaching track here at Pelican Rapids High School.
So we've got some positions to fill yet.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. Mr. Martinez, do you have a finance report for us?
Sure do. You're gonna,
What's up?
Okay.
All right, so finance report for the month end of May. Pretty good fiscal month. We received about $1.039 in state aid and a couple federal grants. So that brought our total ending balance of $7.4 million in investments. In terms of cash flow, everything was pretty smooth as well. We began our cash on hand for all the balances at $163,000, and we ended it with 1.7. One of the big reasons why that balance was so high for cash on hand is we received the second payment on our levy. We received our levy in August, and then the second payment we received it in May. So overall, pretty good. So we're on track to have a very good, successful fiscal year. Page 2 is journal entries. What you'll find in page 2 is simply how I distribute the levy once we receive the payment. So we receive about $1.2 million in levy dollars. So that's all that coding that you see there. It's literally how we spread the levy. You guys remember in September when we do certify the levy, we certify X amount of dollars for every single bucket or every single fund. So that's my journal entry there to distribute those dollars accordingly. Pages 3 through 8 is all the payables. Again, if you guys have any questions on payables, always let me know, and then we'll go ahead and I'll answer any questions. That is the treasurer's reports. Couple other things just worth mentioning is we're asking in the board agenda and consent items D to accept the donation of the soccer lights that are going to be donated by PRUSA, the soccer organization. We finally got a hand up a couple of them, so PRUSA will be taking charge of every single expense to make sure that Brown Soccer Field receives lights. Insurance renewals, property liability, and workers' compensation and cybersecurity is also up for renewals. What you guys will see is, Mr. Cork, you have that addendum, and I can go ahead and so the world of insurance is, let's zoom in there for the team to see. Perfect. The world of insurance back in February, March, with the cost of materials going significantly high, I decided to go ahead and pretty much bid out our insurance proposals. So we had 2 brokers that decided to shop for us. The first one was the one that we're currently with, which is A&P Insurance out of Fergus Falls. And then I contacted Ballard, who is it's pretty much a nationwide broker insurance. The agent that we're working with is out of Fargo. A&P Insurance only has a contract with EMC, and they gave us a proposal for our property and liability for a total package of $81,000. Work comp for $29,000, and then travelers, which is our cybersecurity, for $8,900, for a total package for insurance of $120,000. Been working with Ballard back and forth. Ballard, because they're so big, they have many different contracts with many different providers, so they shop for us. And they came back with EMC, because they're bigger, they get bigger discount, a package for general liability and pretty much all of our insurance that cover all of our district assets for $76, work comp at $29, and travelers for $6,800. They also then shop with other different providers, and they came up with Citizens, which is Hanover, very good insurance provider, for a total package of $68 for property for $68,000. They also came back with a cheaper work comp at $27 and cybersecurity at $7,500 for a total package of $103,000. Both very, very good brokers. My recommendation is to award the bid to Ballard with the third package with Citizens, just because we would be saving close to $16,000 in property and liability, work comp and cybersecurity. So again, my recommendation is to go with Ballard for the third option. That is the insurance approval. The last piece that we have here, before we dive into another piece, is last month we talked about the LTFM project. Every year we have to certify, there's 2 documents that we submit to the state so we can get that LTFM funding. The 2 documents that we have there, we join them together, and pretty much is the statement of assurances saying that we're going to fiscally spend the money as we say that we are, and attached right behind it is a 10-year expenditure. 10-year expenditure is us pretty much letting the, on page 2, pretty much is us letting the state know how we're going to use the funding that we are going to receive over the 10 years. This 10-year projection plan is a moving target because it changes every year, right? We have a plan with Mr. Steves where we say, okay, next year we're going to focus on these projects, the year after that, here's all these other projects, but depending on budget, needs, and everything, the project moves back and forth. So that is the LTFM. Lastly is the business item D, which is approve the 22-23 proposed budget. We feel very strong about the budget proposal. If you have any questions, please let Mr. Korf or I know regarding that budget proposal. We believe it's gonna, based on all the needs that the district has, we accounted for every single one. We start literally doing the budgets in September with the admin team talking about everything that we're going to start looking at the next fiscal year. So that is all the finance pieces. So if you guys have any questions, let us know.
Mr. Martinez, can
Yes, sir.
you just give an update? We talked at the work session last time about our bus contract negotiations. Would you just like to do a quick review on the bus contract?
Yeah, absolutely. So we met with Christensen Bus Services, who are dedicated bus company here in town. We had 2 meetings. The first meetings they came in, we listened to them give their proposal. Second meeting, we answered pretty much, met eye to eye where we negotiated in all the terms that we feel is fair for the companies. Overall, with the 5th day going in, we know it's gonna be an additional expense. We compromised with the Bison Company on paying the bus drivers correctly and fair, bring that salary up to market value based on all the salaries in the surrounding area. Overall, we're going to settle on a package that's going to bring the cost of the busing, I'm looking it up here, close to $71,000 of additional expenses for the upcoming year. We think that's a very fair contract considering all the work that they do. One of the things that we're looking very closely at is the cost of fuel, where we adjust the fuel escalator, which is a clause that's in there, from $2 to $2.50. We think that's very fair, or we're going to continue to monitor that particular clause in regards to how it pertains to the cost of fuel, because we all know that gas is only going to go up here, especially in the summer months. Hopefully by fall time we get to see a little break. Did I miss anything regarding the busing contract? No, just
I think when people see the increase of the cost of the buses, they have to remember we're going from a 4-day to a 5-day, so there is going to be an increase.
That is correct. The majority of that cost is for that additional 5th day. Other than that, it's going to be a little bit of a change. Now we go to school 5 days.
So with the contract now, it's not on the agenda for today, so we're working with the bus company on the contract, and then we will send it out to the board and have it approved.
July meeting of fiscal year. Okay, that's all the business pieces. I'm just scanning the board agenda. That's all we have. Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Was there an attachment at all for the budget, or basic outline? Was that in the last meeting?
We discussed it in the finance committee, and I believe it was sent to each individual board member for review.
Okay, I was just wondering if there's something attached. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Korf.
Okay, enrollment, we ended the high school year with 410 students. At the end of the year, we started with 420 students. A lot going on right now, even though it's summertime. It's very busy with a lot of activities in summer school. We got summer school this week. We have it for 3 weeks in June. Parking lot update. Everything's on track right now, which is good. And it's looking like their goal is to be done with the majority of the project by the beginning of August. So weather permitting, that's what they keep on saying, so, which makes sense. I believe this week they're starting to work on curb, and then they'll start paving here in the next couple weeks. So purchase of the property, a little update there. We're waiting to hear from the bank on the closing date. We have not heard back from them. We were hoping it was gonna be this past week, last week. Did not work out, and we're pushing hard to see if we can get it done this week for the purchase of property, so we can start removing some trees and then moving dirt over there. Community education items, summer rec, activities going on right now. We got a lot going on. I think it's been going very well. All the coaches and leaders have done a great job. Just a reminder, Mr. Rund is in charge of summer rec, so if there's any questions, concerns, he should handle those if people have any questions or concerns. Superintendent Retreat was last week where the area superintendents met at Thumper Pond. It was led by Jeremy Kovash from Lakes Country Co-op. A lot of good speakers. We had one speaker on our purpose and our why what's our purpose, what's our why of why we're in this business. We heard from Sam Walseth, legislative report, and hopefully we were hoping to hear that we were going to receive more money, or they're going to come back, but it doesn't sound like that they're going to do that. So 22-23 school year planning, we've been very busy in district office staff. We've been meeting weekly, each week, planning for next school year, and so we've been very busy with that. The resolution for membership that's on the agenda tonight, that's a yearly approval to be a member of the State High School League. There was a video that was sent to you that we'd like you to watch if you haven't done so. So again, that's a yearly approval for us to be part of the State High School League. Another item that's on the agenda is electric bus discussion, and it was brought up by a school member to look at applying for an electric school bus, and that school would do that, and there'll be more information here soon when we have that discussion. There are pros and cons of electric buses, and I also had Mr. Rested and his crew, the bus company group, come in and be able to answer any questions too if we have any questions during that time. So thank you to Mrs. Siebels. She resigned here this spring, took a job in Moorhead, and we want to thank her for all her time and effort. And like Mr. Nelson said in his report, thank you to Mrs. Hullman for her years of service of teaching elementary music. We are looking for an elementary music teacher, so if anyone in this room knows anyone that is certified to teach elementary music, please let us know. I think that's about it. A couple of items that are not on my report is newsletter. We're working on a newsletter that will be sent out here at the end of June. Ms. Wanter, Mrs. Januszewski are putting that together. And then in July, towards the middle of July, end of July, we'll be sending out a brochure that will go to all district families and talking about our school and what we have to offer here at Pelican Rapids Schools. Last item is a student report. Ellie and Sylvia's not here today. Ellie, do you have anything to share with the board?
So before school got out, the SAD group went to the Ronald McDonald House, and Haley Westby was able to give us a tour, and it was very cool to see everything that they do there and all, like, I don't know, all that goes on with that. We also got to bring all of our like pop tabs and donate all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that went really well. And I think everyone that organized that was very successful and fun. That's all I have.
And Faith has a room,
Oh
right?
yeah, Faith has a room and we got to see it and tour that. That was awesome.
Talk about the chaperones.
And the chaperones.
Or your chaperone?
Who were your chaperones?
Ms. Martinez is one of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any questions?
Wasn't obvious or
No.
anything. Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Korf?
I do have one more, school board meeting dates that we're going to approve tonight. So in the survey, the results show that either board members were Monday or Wednesday worked, or Wednesday worked best. So what we put together here, Ms. Evanson put together then, is looking at, since a couple said that they prefer Wednesdays, that we went to Wednesdays, and it can be at 6 PM or 6:30 if we go to Wednesdays, or if we wanna go back to Mondays, but that's what we're gonna vote on tonight, of approving those dates for the 22-23 school year.
Okay, thank you. Well, we'll move on. I didn't bring my reading glasses, so bear with me here. Consent items. Item A, approve board meeting minutes, May 16th, 2022, and the regular meeting, and June 8th, 22, special meeting. Financial claims, May bills. C, treasurer's report. D, accept donations to the PRHS Honor Society for $250, Detroit Lakes Shrine Club. Of the OMP Scholarship Fund, $90, Becky Wanter. Viking Boutique, $260, Laura Klimek. Student accounts, $260, Laura Klimek. Soccer lights, PRUSA. And the Valkyries dance team, $1,000 from an anonymous source. Item E, personnel, approve the leave of absence for Catherine Albright for August 29th, 2022 to October 19th, 2022. Approve the leave of absence for Kate Martinez for approximately September 11th, 2022 to December 2nd, 2022. Approve the resignation of Lauren Holman as elementary music teacher. Approve the resignation of John Moe as boys head track and field coach. Approve the resignation of Lauren Siebels as school counselor. Approve hire of Miguel Camarina as full-time custodian. Approve the hire of Rudy Martinez as head girls soccer coach. Approve the hire of Mariah Robles as high school administrative assistant. Approve the hire of summer staff. So we have Club Bikes, Holly Berquist, Brenna Davis, Naomi Gutierrez, Jasmine Peterson. For mowing, we have Ryan Hughesby. Kitchen, we have Robin Swanson. Summer rec, we have Evelio Fernandez, Ivan Franco, Evelie Nordgren, and Jack Welch. And then approve insurance renewals for 2022, 2023. And that's it for consent items I have. We'll entertain a motion for the consent items. Motion by Greg,
I'll second.
second by Brittany. Any discussion on the consent items? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the consent items signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Consent items carry. Now on to business items, approve the 2022-23 resolution for the membership in the Minnesota State High School League. So entertain a motion and a second, and this will be a resolution, so I will need to do a roll call.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second that.
Motion by Brenda, second by Greg. And I'll just read the highlighted part. Resolved that the governing board of Pelican Rapids High School, County of Otter Tail, State of Minnesota delegates control, supervision, and regulation of interscholastic athletics and fine art events referred to in Minnesota statutes, section 128C.01 to the Minnesota State High School League, and so hereby certifies that the State Commissioner of Education is provided for by Minnesota statutes. As authorized by this, the governing board of the said school district or school to renew its membership to the State High School League and participate in approved inter-school activities sponsored by said league and its various subdivisions. So this is a resolution, so just do a roll call. Molly?
Yes.
Brenda?
Yes.
Yes. Ann?
Yes.
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 Yes. Resolution carries. item up will be to approve the 2022-23 school board meeting dates.
I make a motion to approve the dates as posted.
I'll second that.
And just for the audience, we're talking Wednesdays.
Going to Wednesdays, yep.
And 6 or 6:30.
We were shown 6, so is that what you're?
Is that what you're referring to?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So as posted means Wednesday, that's 6. Just wanted to make sure, okay.
Other than the summer.
So we have a motion by Ann, do we have a second? I'm sorry, okay. All right, any discussion on the school board meeting dates? Hearing no discussion on the school board meeting dates, all those in favor of approving them signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same. So they've changed to Wednesday at 6 p.m., or Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
Correct, except for,
As
just to clarify, July and August will be at 7 a.m.
Item C, approve the long-term facility maintenance plan and statement of assurances for fiscal year '23. So this was that document that Mr. Martinez went over and is on the website.
I'll make a
Correct.
motion
Oops, sorry, okay.
to approve the LTFM plan.
A motion by Ann,
A second.
second by Brittany. Any discussion on LTFM? Statement of assurances. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the statement of assurances signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same. Motion carries. Approve the 2022-23 proposed budget.
I'll make a motion to
Okay.
approve the 2022-2023 proposed budget.
We have a motion by Ann. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Molly. Any discussion regarding the proposed budget? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the proposed budget signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same. Motion carries. Item E, discuss electric buses. So this is a discussion item. That's how it's listed, but Mr. Larson, you want to
Sure.
kick the floor?
Yeah, on Friday I called Superintendent Corf, I did call. I was thinking I texted him, but I called him. And what came across my desk on Friday was an opportunity to at least look into an application on behalf of the district to try to get up to $395,000 through that ultimately gets issued by the EPA. It's, I had it up on my phone here to give you guys a little background. There's and this is to the best of my understanding, and my goal is to give you guys as much information as in little bit of time as possible this morning in an effort to get the board comfortable with allowing either myself in conjunction with staff and administration to work on an application to be reviewed by the board at the July board meeting for approval. But it's through, to the best of my knowledge, because I'm just learning about it, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law of 2021 authorizes the EPA to issue rebates up to $395,000 for electric school buses, so long as a school district meets certain criteria. And one of those criteria is being on the priority list that I believe was created in conjunction, created by work between the state and federal governments to determine know those on the list. Pelican Rapids is on the list in terms of being a prioritized school district in the state of Minnesota. Not all schools are on there. I don't know exactly all of the criteria that have to be met in order to be placed on that list, but there's several schools in the area that are not on the list. Pelican Rapids is one of them. There's quite a few. A lot of the school districts we're familiar with are on there, but there's a lot of school districts we're familiar with that aren't on the priority list. And it's nothing, it's simply based on the state and federal government's review of, I don't know, financial condition, tax bases, student socioeconomic status, based on submissions, I suppose, for various things that the district offers. But the application itself can't be submitted by a private bus company, because when I first got it, I wanted to look at it as quickly as possible, because obviously the school district doesn't own its own buses. But the information that I have indicates that private fleet companies like we have with Christensen Bus Company, they're not eligible to apply for it, but school districts are able to work contractually with private school bus companies to work out whatever arrangements can be worked out in the event there ever was an electric school bus that was paid for through this rebate program. In addition to the up to $395,000 for a school bus, and I believe that's unlimited. I didn't see whether or not you could apply for 1 bus or 5 buses. I think a school district can apply for as many buses as the school district wants, but obviously there's a limited amount of money in the pot to determine how that gets allocated. But at a minimum, if our school district decided to do that, that would be part of the discussion that I'd certainly be willing to be a part of over the next month or so, and I would take on as much of the load as necessary to gather additional information to determine whether or not it makes sense to apply for 1 bus, if not 5 buses or 2 buses or whatever may be the case. I think a great part of that discussion over the next 30 days or so would obviously be to include the bus company, because in addition to the $395,000 rebate for each electric school bus, I think there's a corresponding $13,000 to $20,000 additional money above and beyond that for infrastructure needed in order to charge buses and anything that I believe is arguably related to infrastructure. And that's per bus, so if there were 2 buses, it would be $26,000 to $40,000 worth of opportunity for charging infrastructure costs that would be available. I certainly won't put words in the mouths of our bus company, but I know there's previously we've had brief discussions, and I think it's probably been a year ago, and I think it was just in passing. I don't know if it was Paul or Mark. I think maybe it was. Regardless of that, I know that there's practical issues involved with charging and the retention of the charge when it comes to cold climates and things like that. And to me, that's part of just the evaluation over the next 30 days is to figure out, whether or not it makes sense at all to apply for it. But I think it would be a great opportunity at a minimum to look into. I'm not here to request the board take action to approve any sort of application today. But I would like to take action to approve taking action so that a completed application would be presented to the board at the July meeting, so that the board at that time can take a look at it and determine whether or not it would like to submit it to the EPA. Superintendent Corp mentioned pros and cons. And I suppose that's a matter of perspective, everybody. Kind of maybe has their own feelings on electric vehicles in general. I think there's no question that's probably where our world's going, certainly, slowly but surely. I know right now the state of Minnesota is working on the I-94 and I-35 corridors so that I believe there's up to 4 fast EV chargers located within 50 miles of each other in an effort to address what individual owners have when it comes to charge anxiety and things like that. But, you know, aside from, you know, I don't know what an I don't know what an electric school bus costs.
$400,000.
$400,000. If that's the case and the EPA provided a $395,000 rebate, unless I'm missing something, there seems to be a pretty good value there in terms of the actual unit. From an educational standpoint, I think it could give our students and our staff an opportunity, if they haven't already had experience with electric vehicles, just to see them in action. Whether it's used for certain events or used during certain periods of the year, I don't know. Those are all things to be explored, I think, between the district and the bus company. But I'm really interested in at least looking into it so that an application can be brought before the board at the July meeting, because the application deadline is August 13 of this summer. I know the EPA is already accepting applications. I don't know whether or not there's any priority given to those applications that are submitted earlier rather than later. But from my perspective, I would rather gather as much information and engage as many folks as possible during the process, so that if the board does decide to submit an application, everybody's on the same page and everybody feels good about it. Or in the alternative, if the majority of us feel that it's just not a good fit for whatever reason, I want to see that outcome too. I guess whatever the direction the board would like to take is the ultimate decision maker when it comes to this. But the only information I forwarded to Superintendent Corf was really just this. It was almost a handout, kind of I think it was a PDF that I received, and it just gave the generic breakdown as to the general idea behind the rebate program. I'm not coming here today to say that we gotta go electric at all. This literally came to my attention. I know there's electric school buses around, obviously, but this rebate program and Pelican Rapids being on the priority list came literally in front of me within a few minutes before I called Superintendent Corf. So I come in here with no motive other than to try to get it on the agenda, which I appreciate it being placed on the agenda on such short notice, and to give myself, together with staff, administration, Christensen Bus Company, whoever's willing to be a part of that process, I'd like to do what I can to facilitate that discussion over the next 3 weeks, let's say, or so, to put together an application. So, not looking for any action by any means, but I would like kind of just a good faith idea in terms of people's willingness for being available to look into the idea so that I can gather information necessary for the application. And, you know, at the end of the day, if there was an application completed, again, that would be approved. That would require board approval. I guess that's my perspective. I take it. I don't know technically if this came directly to the school, if Superintendent Corp submitted an application, there's probably nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's rebates and other things that get done all the time. But because of the uniqueness of it, I think it's a good topic for the board to discuss regardless. In light of the transition to electric vehicles and the, I think, opportunity the school could really take advantage of from a financial perspective if it was able to cover, 95, 98% of the cost of an EV through this rebate program.
What have you guys heard about electric buses?
I texted the other day when this subject was brought up. I said, I texted him, the dealer we deal with, I said, how much is a bus? He said, 400,000. He said, don't buy one. We're only getting 50 miles of range in the wintertime. The battery technology will be improving in the years to come. We know that. And in the future, it'll be feasible. But right now, we're not too interested in doing it ourselves anyway.
Yeah, I guess I don't wanna, to me, to buy one versus finding out how this rebate process works, a little bit different. Even if it's something that can be done, to get it in front of our school district and our students and our staff and to see how it works. I know, and the bus company reps here can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, I think the U of M did a pilot study. I think Morris is involved with, do you guys know if the Morris School District has an EV that they're using through a U of M bus company pilot program?
I think Fergus has a different one.
Fergus Falls.
They don't have it yet.
And that's the other thing too is, as technology, all that stuff, it changes second by second. And, even if the school district is eligible and is a recipient of the rebate opportunity, I have no idea whether or not that bus is available next year or 5 years from now. And by no means do I think there's any obligations that get put on the school district simply through the application itself. I think if the application was submitted and for whatever reason the school district, in conjunction with the bus company, decided it just made 0 sense at all, I don't think by any means the school district would get penalized by rejecting its eligibility to receive the $395,000 towards the electric school bus. So I'm not looking for any action other than I wanted to bring it in front of the board because I'm interested in looking into it. I'm not, other than being interested in looking into it and being willing and having the time available to connect the dots in terms of learning a little bit more of it. That's all I'd like to do. And Mr. Grefsrud, Mr. Poach, and Mr. Rested, if any of you guys would be willing to just field a call or two from me over the next few weeks for purposes of just kind of letting you guys know where things are at in terms of, I don't know even what the application looks like. Yeah. And, but the goal is to work together to just not all of a sudden have the school district and the bus company see an electric school bus in front of the school one day and then figure out how to approach it.
Yeah,
I think,
you got my number.
yeah. So I think that's really the purpose of bringing it up to the board's attention today, is to kind of just receive that sort of feedback in terms of, I don't know if it's a good fit or not, I don't know how good they are, I don't know if it's a safety behind them. You know, to the best of my knowledge, you know, they're coming, slowly, very slowly, just like electric vehicles for individuals, but, you know, different parts of the country certainly are being impacted by electric vehicles more so than our part of the country. And there's reasons for that, and all those factors I think are important to take into consideration. So I don't want, what I'll end with is, I'm not here to blindly try to steamroll an electric school bus that's owned by the school district, that gets used by the bus company, that puts burden on anybody above and beyond the benefits that this thing may be able to provide.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that what we should do from here is find any board members that are interested in being on a committee to look into electric school buses, and then sit down with the bus company to have that discussion. But I think what we need to do is review the application first, and then contact the bus company to have a discussion with them, and then that committee will make a recommendation to the board in July.
Bring the transportation committee back that we kind of
We can do that, yeah.
formed into the.
I also
finance
think it would be a good idea to basically plan out if we get this, who's driving, who's paying that wage, if anything goes wrong with it, maintenance, where can you get it maintained, any replacement part, possible purchases, or where you get it. I think we need to have everything laid out as a possibility of what to do if we have the bus versus just applying and figuring it out later.
That's the way I see it, it would be a district-owned bus, and then we see if we could work out
But I think
something with you for an operator, somebody to drive it. that
I just
pays for
personally think
maintenance.
the responsible part is to have that laid out.
Do that. Those questions and everything, that information
Yes.
would be discussed in that committee
Yes.
to bring to the board.
And my hope is we, you know, and maybe this is being over optimistic, but having 5 electric school bus paid for and sitting out in the parking lot right now and not having all the dots connected, I don't think would be the end of the world by any means, in my opinion.
But where would you store it
No, I
if you
get
don't
that.
use it?
I get that,
Yeah.
but we're talking about having 5 brand new school bus and then having to deal with that
No.
I think there's a way, I think,
So is the district
I
gonna
think
own
I'm
the school
okay
buses?
with-
Is that what you're?
yeah, the district, to the best of my knowledge, has to own the school district buses, because it has to be a
For this
not,
grant.
yep, it has to be a not-for-profit, or it can be a for-profit entity that is a dealer, I believe. But it said private bus fleet companies are not eligible, and it's specifically on the website, because I think the idea is because so many school districts do not use their own, or own their own fleets, one of the first things on it is private school bus fleets cannot apply directly for funding, however, eligible applicants, which I presume would be the school district, can enter into arrangements with the private fleet that owns and operates the buses to replace buses that serve a public school district. But all those things need to be vetted out through the committee that was contemplated, I believe, by Superintendent Corf. And I agree with Brittany's sentiments. I'd rather do stuff if we can get it. And I know there's challenges, but if there's opportunities here, this seems like unique enough to where if we don't, my hope is that if we don't have a plan 100% cemented as to where we can store them, for example, my hope is that by itself wouldn't prevent us from applying. Because I think if we apply, we're still not obligated, even if we are awarded the rebate to continue to proceed. So there's a lot of discussion that maybe would have to take place post-application that I still wouldn't think, that I think that would address like Brittany's concerns, So I think time's on our side in that regard. Plus, in light of the supply chain and materials and Fergus Falls, I believe, still waiting on their bus, that I think that decision to get Fergus Falls engaged with the program was made a year or two ago. You know, this stuff takes a lot of time when it comes to the construction of the electric vehicles, for sure.
So if we wanna go forward with this, we're gonna be on the committee.
I will be on it. I would like to be on it.
We wanna go
We have
forward in the
committee.
committee? We used to have a
Yeah,
transportation
I
committee.
know the last transportation committee meeting I was at, they had Mike Forsgren at it, myself. I can't remember, I remember when Randy Anderson was here going to the,
It was me.
Would you like to be on it, Brittany?
No, thank you.
Don't raise your hand.
I was telling you, I was on it.
Okay.
Here's something to think about. This bus company made its first electric bus in 1994. They did a comparison between diesel and electric, total cost of ownership. Diesel cost per mile for fuel, and $1.13. Electric cost per mile, $1.13. Over a 15-year period, total maintenance savings was $8.23. So over 15 years, it came to $123.45 savings electrical versus diesel.
right out of the gate, $125 savings.
Over 15 years.
Yeah, right out of the gate, so you multiply
The way
that
that battery
times,
technology is now,
multiply that times 5, we're at $500 over
Yeah.
75 years.
jump on that.
So I think a lot of these questions could be figured out in committee.
Yeah.
Do you, just a quick question, do you know that they make like mini buses that are
Yep.
electrified?
Yep.
Maybe that's maybe a more,
Yeah.
something that stays within the district, I don't know. We can figure that out in committee, I guess.
For golf teams or if you speech and stuff, you know, says sending a full-size bus for 10 kids. That would be,
As long as it's not more than 50 miles a day.
in the wintertime, go to barns going crazy.
Anyone else that wants to be on the committee?
Anybody else want to be on it?
I could be.
Molly? Ann, Brenda?
I can't be.
Tulsa?
John, first choice? No?
I can be, I guess.
Doesn't matter. If you can't, I will.
Have any of you guys driven an electric bus?
I can be on it.
No. Has anybody, I haven't driven an electric vehicle, but has anybody have experience with an electric vehicle here?
Does the REA still have one?
RE just got one, Lake Region just got one, they used to have a Chevy, now they got a Ford that just came last week that I sat in but did not drive, because I gotta check it out. But for reliability reasons, but I've never driven or rode in one, just sat in one.
So when do we want to have this
So
meeting set
we
up?
will email dates set to do a committee meeting and then set up like what we want to discuss, and then we will contact the bus company when we're ready to have that discussion at meeting with them. But we'll email out dates and times that work in the evening. It'll have to be in the evening.
Split the committee is Molly and me
And
And John.
and John. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks, guys, for showing up. I know we had briefly talked about it before, and like I said, I'm not here to say it's the best thing in the world. It could be, for our situation, not a good fit for a lot of reasons, but the rebate, maybe but just wanna look into it, find out if there's a way for our district to benefit from it.
we may start digging and find out it's not ready for prime time yet. We don't know, but we're gonna have questions that we'll need you guys to ask. Anything else? Move on to upcoming meetings, July, regular meeting. Wednesday. You have the list in front of you?
Yep.
This is the 20th at 7.
July 20th, 7 AM.
I won't be here. Or I'll have to join from the fairgrounds.
So you want to zoom in?
Yeah, I can do that.
So our July regular meeting will be Wednesday, July 20th at 7 AM. And the filing period for the upcoming school board election is August 2nd through August 16th. We have August 4th, MSBA Summer Seminar, that's virtual this year again. And August, our regular meeting date is, you have that in front of you too?
Yep, August the 17th, August 17th.
It is August 17th at 7 AM also, and then we'll revert back to the evening dates after that, so. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make motion.
Brenda?
I'll second.
Motion by Brenda, second by Greg. Any discussion on adjourning? Hearing no discussion. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Aye. Those
Aye.
opposed, same. We're adjourned. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Can't see the reflection, but I think it is 7:31. We have Brittany and Greg not in attendance. Everybody else is. And this is a special meeting, so we will stand with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first item up will be approve the meeting agenda. Motion by Brenda, second by Ann. Discussion on the agenda. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the meeting agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. Agenda carries. Item 4, approve the purchase of property at 612 2nd Street Southeast, Pelican Rapids. Suppose we could do the motion in a second, and then we need to give a little bit of a discussion piece for the meeting. We talked about the work session. Okay. So do we have a motion? Molly? Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so now as part of the discussion piece, this is to acquire, purchase the property on the northeast side of the elementary school. Just want to give a quick abbreviation what it is for the meeting purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. Motion was to approve the purchase on 602 Southeast, property located just adjacent to the school district, for a purchase price of $53,000 plus additional closing cost. Great addition to the school.
Anybody else have any questions or discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the purchase of property at 612 2nd Street Southeast, Pelican Rapids, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. Purchase carries. Now it's a special meeting, so we don't have anything else, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ann, second by Brenda. Any discussion on adjourning? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. We're adjourned.